Tonight, after a tumultuous summer break, Queen's Park is back in session tomorrow, and the opposition says expect fireworks.
This is a government that is in the spiraling.
Well, the Ford government says it'll backtrack on plans to develop the Greenbelt. The opposition says the people of Ontario deserve more answers on how it all went down. Plus,
makes us feel a lot safer.
After a series of violence on the pitch, Ontario Soccer kicks off a pilot project arming referees with body cameras.
We all sort of cried.
Not quite the thrill riders were expecting at Wonderland after they're left hanging upside down for nearly 30 minutes.
This is CBC Late Night News.
We'll have those stories in a moment, but we begin with some breaking news this hour, which should help Ontario and Toronto's movie industry. A tentative agreement has been reached in Hollywood to end the writers' strike. More than 11,000 writers have been off the job for nearly 5 months over issues like pay and the use of AI in writing scripts. The strike sent late-night talk shows into hiatus and paused production on many popular shows. Now, earlier today, we had heard that Hollywood studios put forth their best and final offer. The deal was just announced within the last hour or so with no specifics. It still needs to be ratified by union members. Turning to the other big news tonight, Ontario MPPs head back to Queen's Park tomorrow. After apologizing last week, the Ford government may be hoping the Greenbelt controversy is behind them, but the opposition says it is far from over. Anam Khan is at Queen's Park for us tonight. Hey, Anam.
Hi, Shannon. So MPPs are going to be here tomorrow, bright and early, and it's been a roller coaster of a summer for the Ford government. They've seen 3 ministers resign and 2 cabinet shuffles just in the past month, and most of that because of the Greenbelt controversy. So the opposition says they can't wait to get to question period tomorrow.
It's been a wild summer.
Leader of the opposition, Marit Stiles, says she can't wait to get back to the legislature. She says there's a lot of questions for Doug Ford's government, especially around the Greenbelt.
We still don't really know who tipped off the developers and when. We still don't really know the extent of the Premier's involvement himself. He's refused so far to share phone records, and we know that lots of information and emails have already been deleted.
A month ago, Ontario's then Auditor General released a scathing report on the Greenbelt land swap, saying the government gave preferential treatment to some developers. What followed was 2 resignations: Ontario's Municipal Affairs and Housing Minister Steve Clark and Ontario's Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery Khalid Rashid. And then on Thursday, the Premier's apology and pledge to make it right.
I made a promise to you that I wouldn't touch the Greenbelt. I broke that promise. And for that, I'm very, very sorry.
Instead of focusing in on building homes that ordinary Ontarians can afford in the communities they want to live in, on the land that's already approved for development, the Premier wasted time, money, and effort focused on breaking the rules and rolling out the red carpet for a handful of wealthy, Ford-connected elite developers to cash in $8.3 billion.
Charlie Pinkerton broke part of the Greenbelt story.
It's going to be interesting to see this fall in particular what the government does to sort of refocus its housing strategy. This is, one of the top issues for many Ontarians, and something this government has poured a lot of its time and effort into working to resolve.
And when it comes to housing, the opposition says the province must consider rent control for all units.
The difficulty that families are having paying more than 35% or 40-50% in rent, and the rest of the money that remains, they cannot even purchase food to put on the table.
We need to bring in real rent control again, and we need to build the truly affordable housing that's missing right now, and it's missing all across the province.
Shannon, so we also know healthcare and education will be hot topics here tomorrow at Queen's Park, but expect the Greenbelt to take center stage.
Okay, thanks, Anam. She's reporting for us live tonight. In other news, 2 people are dead after a shooting in Etobicoke last night. 24 hours later, there's still very little information on suspects. Officers were called to this townhouse complex after a group drove up to another group and opened fire. One man was pronounced dead. Evidence markers and police tape can be seen on the driveway. Now, police say the group in the vehicle took off, but were later found near a playground in Jamestown. Police say one of them was taken to hospital. They too had been shot and later died. Another 2 people ended up in hospital. Police have so far not released any information on suspects. To the Ottawa area next, where a 3-year-old boy has died after falling from an apartment window earlier today. It's unclear at this hour how he fell from the window or how high the drop was, but paramedics say there was a missing scream from a window on the building's 16th floor. The Speaker of the House of Commons has apologized over the welcome he gave a Second World War veteran in the House on Friday. Speaker Anthony Rota introduced him as a Ukrainian who fought for independence against Russia. Now, the House had already welcomed Ukraine's president. Since then, reports have indicated the veteran being cheered had served in an SS unit under Nazi command. The Prime Minister's office says it had no advance notice, and Speaker Rota confirmed he made the introduction on his own initiative, saying subsequent information makes him regret it. Canadian auto workers have voted in favor of a new 3-year contract with Ford, averting a strike by more than 5,000 employees. Chris Ensing spent the day outside the Ford plant in Windsor, and he breaks down the deal.
Well, we know that Ford's calling it historic. Unifor is saying that this is life-changing, and a lot of that has to do with the numbers and the details that are inside of here with wages. By some estimates, 15% increase over the 3 years that this deal will last for. A big part of that, too, is eliminating the progression. So a new hire at a plant like the one behind me here, a production worker who's here to make a Ford engine, will make about $30 an hour when they start, and within 5 years, that will be up to $42 an hour. That increase used to take 8 years, so the union sees that as a big win. The other one is around pensions. They say that was their priority and that they wanted to make sure that the people who retired from Ford had something to see in this deal as well. And the other is the incentives that are here for the people who are working in Oakville. So when we talk about the people who work for Ford, there's about 5,600 employees, most in Windsor and most in Oakville. Oakville is going to get retooled to build an electric vehicle, and when that happens, because of this contract, Unifor says that people who are put off work while that retooling happens will have better access and more access to unemployment insurance and a top-up that will allow them to gain more wages, get paid more while they're off work waiting for that facility to come back online. I was talking to the head of Canada's Manufacturing and Exporting Industry Group, who said that this deal is a big sigh of relief, that they wouldn't know what to do if they went into a strike situation at all of the plants. So they're also happy today.
That was Chris Ensing reporting for us from Windsor. Well, to Canada's Wonderland, where dozens were stuck upside down on a ride for nearly 30 minutes. This video posted on social media shows some of those scary moments. 2 young passengers who were on their last ride of the night described the moment after the ride came to a complete stop.
After we stopped for a while, I didn't really think we were going to be stuck at all. And then I see my sister crying, and then I see everyone around like, oh my gosh, guys, we're stuck. And then about 3 minutes in, I hear some guy look down, and he says, guys, there's an ambulance below us and security. That's when we really started to panic and freak out.
Our feet became numb, even mine, but then people took off their shoes and they dropped down to the ground, and our thighs felt numb. Like, it was just really hard.
And because you're crying, like all the water is going back into your eyeballs because you're upside down. I would never personally go on the ride ever again.
Yeah, you can understand that. Really scary moments. Glad everyone's okay. In a statement, Wonderland apologized and said ride-goers were, quote, unloaded safely and assessed by first aid staff. They go on to say safety of their guests is always the first priority. Referees at some Ontario soccer matches will now be armed with body cameras. This after the association says violence on the pitch forced them to take action. Tyler Cheese has more on the pilot project, which is believed to be among the first in Canada.
We had a 16-year-old girl last year who was a referee after the match in a parking lot waiting for their parent to pick them up, was accosted and sworn by a bunch of parents and physically assaulted.
Ontario Soccer says the number of people registering to referee has been dwindling in recent years, and the number one reason for that is referee abuse on the field.
We had a men's recreational soccer game where a player was handed a red card, was tossed out of the match, went to the parking lot to take out of the trunk of their car a machete and chase the referee around the field.
In light of a rise in these aggressive incidents, this little black box is meant to keep refs safe.
We have them spread out throughout the Greater Toronto area, and we're partnering with Brock University to do the research component, so we're evidence-based.
50 cameras have been rolled out in the hope that their presence will deter abuse from angry players, parents, or coaches. The footage can also be used to determine whether or not discipline is required in such situations.
So it'll beep when it's recording. So every time something happens in the game and we want to record, we'll push down. And it has already been pre-recording the last 30 seconds. So that way, if I start it right after something has happened, it has already recorded those 30 seconds before.
Refs say the cameras are already making them feel more secure on the field. And they're not the only ones in favor of the new program.
It's good. It's good for the refs. It's good for the Ontario soccer. You know, it has to keep us honest. Like we have a camera filming us playing the game.
Ontario Soccer says the cameras are just one part of a bigger campaign to help deter bad behavior directed at the refs. Something soccer parents say they've seen far too often.
I would say the parents maybe are the ones that need to lower the temperature the most, because you know our kids are playing, the refs are in charge. The coaches are coaching the kids. Parents should watch and enjoy. We're not doing the World Cup here. It's a regional play.
The body camera pilot program will run through the indoor soccer season into next year. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Vaughan.
Good girl. Good girl. Out of the shelter and into the water, 5 doggies, yes, they're wearing life jackets, safety first, headed into the pool, splashing their way for the last day of the city's public dog swim. The event was organized by Toronto Animal Services. It was not only an opportunity for these dogs to stretch their paws and sniff the fresh air, but part of an effort to find these rescued pets their forever homes.
And, you know, all of these dogs are happy dogs that are ready to be part of families. And it's really hard when there are so many available adoptable dogs in the city for them to just be a little square on a website. So that's why it's really important for us to get as many opportunities as we can to get them out into the world so people can meet them and see how amazing they are.
Screening for potential adopters was also held at the pool. Animal Services says there are currently around 15 to 20 dogs in the shelter system ready to find their new home, as well as a number of cats, rabbits, and guinea pigs. Sure would like to know how many matches were made today. I love seeing them in their life jackets. So cute.
Doggone fun, that's what that is,
Yes.
Shannon. And it kind of feels like the dog days of summer still, and I'm not complaining for the first full day of fall. I will take it. And really, if you liked what you had out there today, it's going to be just like what you saw the last few days and what we're going to see right up until the first week of October. No extreme heat, no extreme cool, really a calm, clear, tranquil sort of week ahead. Not often that I use the word tranquil, is it? I want to note the clouds that you saw out there today. If you thought they were anything out of the ordinary, it was actually the cloud deck, the remnants from Tropical Storm Ophelia. Kind of neat. Draw your attention up to the smoke there near James Bay. It will be with us with a little bit of haphazard air quality until Tuesday morning when it finally passes. You'll notice those orange sunsets and orange moonlit nights again. Speaking of the moonlit nights, those clouds will clear for a little bit of stargazing into the overnight period. Pleasant temperatures overnight. You won't need the air conditioning, and pleasant temperatures will be the name of the game into the start of this work week as well. Lots of peaks of sunshine, and we're about 3 to 4 degrees above seasonal for Monday. A little resurgence of summer, I will call it, and it is because of this, Shannon, this big ridge of high pressure that goes all the way from Hudson's Bay down to the southern Great Lakes Basin. It's bringing us this little last taste of summer, but I'll tell you about what it means for our dry, parched lawns and the wind gusts in the long grain, Shannon.
We're hanging on to the summer days. Thanks, Sophia.
Maybe we'll keep it.
A NASA space capsule is back on Earth tonight after a 7-year journey that saw it rendezvous with an asteroid and bring back pieces of rock billions of years old. It sounds like a movie plot. Jamie Strachan has more on the unprecedented mission.
SRC has touched down.
Inside this small capsule, nearly 250 grams of asteroid rock and soil, tantalizing clues about the origins of life on Earth and beyond.
Materials that are contained within this return is going to help us understand very fundamental questions, potentially even where did life come from?
The nearly unprecedented sample came from the asteroid Bennu, similar scientists believe to the asteroid that crashed into Earth during the planet's formation.
We'll be looking for carbon-bearing minerals, we'll be looking for organics, amino acids, the building blocks of life, as well as evidence that there was hydration in the past on Bennu's surface, because all of these things are the sort of materials that were delivered to Earth that helped life flourish here.
3, 2, 1. The journey to reach Bennu began 7 years ago when NASA launched OSIRIS-REx.
Its 7-year mission.
In 2020, the vessel successfully collected the largest sample of an asteroid ever, a high-stakes process made possible with the help of Canadian engineers.
Canada developed the instrument that allowed to map the asteroid Bennu on which this spacecraft landed, and it was essential for landing on the right place.
A journey billions of kilometers back to Earth was next, and then the tricky part. The capsule was dropped from 100,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface, where it rocketed through the planet's atmosphere, before gently parachuting to its intended target, a military base in the Utah desert.
It is an absolute wonderful amount that we're going to be able to do work on for decades to come. To put it into perspective, there's going to be groundbreaking discoveries.
And because of Canada's key contribution, scientists here will get their own sample of this cosmic specimen. Jamie Strachan, CBC News.
The Legacy Awards returning tonight for their 2nd year in a row. The annual event aims to honor Black achievement in film, television, music, sports, and culture. Ithel Musa takes us there.
Tonight is the 2nd annual Legacy Awards. This event is all about celebrating and elevating Black excellence in music, film, television, culture, and sports. This awards show was started by 2 brothers who are also actors, Shamir Anderson and Stefan James. Here's a little bit about what they had to say about the importance of this night.
I mean, you can't underestimate, sort of the power in that, the power in seeing, your idols touch the stage, give testimony, inspire the next generation. It's a very palpable thing, and so a very tangible thing, and so we're grateful to be able to create the platform, to be able to start it.
One of the award recipients tonight is actress Tanya Lee Williams. She's probably best known for portraying Dr. Olivia Winters on the American soap opera The Young and the Restless. She's also been a pioneer when it comes to promoting diversity. She started the Real World Film Festival about 23 years ago because there was a lack of diversity in media. She's receiving an award tonight. Here's some of what she had to say.
I'm thrilled to be here, not just because I'm getting an award, but to see our own community create this for themselves. I'm overjoyed. I mean, what Stefan and Shamir have done is going to be a legacy that's going to last forever.
Canadian singer and songwriter Julie Black is also receiving an award at the Legacy Awards tonight. Here's some of what she had to say about why these types of events are so important to support.
Wow, it's so new. To have this type of celebration, so I'm hopeful. I'm kind of sitting in a space of hope and appreciation that we have the Legacy Awards at all, period. And I think that our ancestors are happy, it's a celebratory time.
Those are just some of the Black Canadians being celebrated tonight at the 2nd annual Legacy Awards. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
A show of support today right across Ontario in support of people living with kidney disease.
So we're extra excited to be here with our patients, families, friends, colleagues, and healthcare professionals here to support people with chronic kidney disease. we want to let them know that they're not alone and we're here to support them.
This is the first time in 3 years the walk is being held in person due to the pandemic. 28 communities across the province hosted walks. The Kidney Foundation says money raised goes towards peer support, education, and research. Last year, the foundation raised more than $700,000. Beautiful day to get out for a walk. And when I look at the map behind you, I see heat. Is that what we see there?
Yeah, it almost
we
looks
like.
you know what, it's funny, we were talking about this today. We actually brought out, let me see if I can get it on here, these ridges here. That is the actual symbol for a ridge, and we often don't use them unless we're talking about a big heat dome event. But because this ridge was so big and it's this much into the first day of fall, I thought I'd bring it out. So yeah, definitely looks like heat. You nailed it. We'll be about 4 degrees above seasonal for our Monday. Plenty of peaks of sunshine. Just lovely for any outdoor events you have going on. And really, it's been a thing that we've gotten used to this month. We've only had one day in blue this month that was just a hair below seasonal. But besides that, this has been an overwhelmingly above seasonal month. We even had that stretch. Remember that first week back to school of extreme heat, and it's a trend that looks to continue, that above seasonal or seasonal trend. Next 2 days, though, seasonal mark because of a gusty east wind, but generally high teens, maybe even close to the 20s, even up into northern Ontario. East wind will be your story for the next couple days. Really breezy, up to 40, even 50 kilometers an hour. Anywhere on the east end of Lake Ontario for Monday evening, really right into Tuesday and Wednesday being sort of the breeziest days of this upcoming work week. That front, though, will do wonders to clear out some of the smoke that you'll see over the next 24 or 36 hours. It's all coming from fires way up in the Northwest Territories. Now, that front will also bring just a little bit of shower activity for those of you in southwestern Ontario for Monday evening into Tuesday morning, maybe anywhere from Hamilton down to Windsor. Not too much, but really it's all we're going to see from the next 7-day period. It is a dry stretch. In fact, Shannon, the driest stretch we have had so far this year, 12 days and counting without rain, and it looks to continue into October.
Okay, we'll take it. That's a nice way to start the season. Thanks so much,
dry
Sophia.
and clear.
Yeah, and sunny. Lovely. We'll see you next weekend. That's our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for being here with us. We hope you have a great night and a great week ahead. We'll see you soon.